Day 59, and I learned something yesterday about high fat and protein, and it is a little bit of mind blowing, to be honest, because me and a lot of people do misunderstand the high fat approach. So, there are a lot of different things, and I just got into some of the topics, but there are so many more. But actually, one thing you should know, high fat does not mean that you just do whatever you do right now and then just add butter. No. High fat is a complete different approach where you really have to there are many different approaches, but you lower your protein intake and eat more fat. So that's one. The other thing is Dr. Bose, I think her name is. She doesn't eat butter at all, and the 80% of all calories come from fat because she uses, for example, the butcher and ask for ribeye fat and then make it in the air fryer or these kind of things. So the fat doesn't come from butter for her. So some people do have some problems with fat, but your body will adjust. My body in the beginning had problems with butter at all, and I couldn't eat it. But now I'm getting there more easily, and my body's actually craving butter. So that's the good part. The other thing is if you have issues and your weight doesn't go away and you just have troubles with a lot of things on carnivore and you have an autoimmune disease and other, problems, it's recommended by so many now doctors and clinics and so on to go high fat and to have 80% of your intake really from fat and 20% from protein. And the most important thing to know is, and I was just really mind-blowing, is that protein can harm you, but you need it because your body actually then will use your muscle mass if you don't have protein. But the protein can also harm you because you need more fat. Actually, when you're healing like autoimmune diseases, that's why this is so important. And there are some things I gonna post it on Instagram. So I think I did post it on Instagram. I did post it on Instagram in my stories and linked the video. So they're explaining it a little bit more better, Kelly Hogan and her interview partner. But that's basically one of the most important things to know, that a lot of people just do wrong and just look at the influencers, carnivore influencers eating all the butter, and then they do the same and then they have problems because your body is not there yet maybe. So have that in mind, and that you don't have to use butter, ghee or tallow to increase your fat. You can also use just from the butcher and go and just take their the leftover fat. They usually maybe some throw away and gave it away very cheap. So these are some approaches you can have. The other thing you must know, and that's so important, I learned it now the hard way, is fasting can be so bad for you if you have autoimmune disease and these kind of things, because you can put your body into stress situation and it will react completely different than you expect your body to do. So especially in the beginning and all these things, everybody, you have to fast, you have to fast. No. Careful with that information, because I learned it now the hard way. Since I started having less smaller meals and two bigger meals at 12 and at 5 o'clock, I started having more troubles on carnivore. I gained weight, and all the things that I ate, even with less calories, because I just couldn't eat that much because of the fasting and these kind of things, I didn't do any justice to my body. And I put my body in some kind of stress situation. And before I did have smaller meals and more balanced, it worked better for my body. So you cannot say to people, do this or do this. It depends on how you are, working, and your body and everybody is so different. So you really have to know that there are so many approaches and just try them all out and see what works for you in the end. So that's one of the most important things I learned. So fasting for me, maybe right now, maybe at all, I don't know. For now, it seems not the right way to go, but I don't know if it's gonna be better if I divide it. So what they recommended is to make 3 to 4 smaller meals with 20 grams of of protein in these meals and your fat. So to divide it in 3 to 4 meals a day, smaller meals if it's easier for you, and if your body didn't go well with all the fasting and all the good stuff people tell you, try this approach. Maybe that's what I'm trying right now. And so what does this actually mean? Because I saw the video also from Kelly Hogan, and she showed what she eats. And it's really cool to see, because she eats, her meat, small portions of meat. Then she has some goat cheese on it. She has a York, egg York. Most of the time she put it in the microwave and make it a little bit hot. And, she sometimes have some piece of cheese. So, and these she has 4 times a day, and her butter. So I think I will try this approach, because one thing I did realize, it was before, some people do get addicted to cheese, depending on what cheese you have. So be careful with that. But I realized, but maybe I'm wrong and I have to try it again, is that when I ate cheese to my meat, not just as cheese, but just a little bit of, that much cheese to that much piece of meat, or, a patty, I was more satisfied, and I had less cravings, and, my overall energy went a little bit better. So my approach was completely different today. I cannot, because my stress level today, because at work I had a lot to do, so I cannot say if it's now better or worse, because it was just a lot to do at work. But the day was starting a little bit awful, because I prepared my son he likes the black bread and butter. So I did prepare that for him, but at the same time I saw it, and then I just wanted to have a little bite, and then I ate 1 piece of bread, and I felt so sick. With a lot of butter, but still a piece of bread, and I realized immediately that I'm not feeling well. So, and then I realized what's inside, and I was shocked. It's I don't know the English word for it, but it's basically nothing more than a fancy word for sugar. And that's why it tasted so sweet, and that's why I was triggered so for binge eating, just that I want to have that little piece, and then I had this piece, So we're not gonna buy this anymore. I talked to my son, we went shopping, and I said, we have to check the labels better. Even we do good, but this time I really had the approach. This is considered one of the healthiest breads in my country, the healthiest. It's just unbelievable. And I still was one of these victims of marketing, that I thought, okay, that is the healthiest version he can have, so there is not gonna be anything bad inside, and that's why we bought it. And then he said, oh yeah, it tasted sweet, and that's when I clicked, and I was like, yeah, why did it taste sweet? I didn't even realize that. That's the worst thing. You don't sometimes even realize. And then I looked at the labels, and then I saw that it's like basically water, then a lot of sugar, and then the good ingredients. And I was like so shocked that it's promoted like this. And I know that, you know that, but sometimes you're just so surprised. You know what I mean? So I could even give him the white bread. It would be more healthy than this, the healthiest bread you can buy. I'm really shocked. And but that's the learning curve also you have on Carnivore. So that's what we figured out, and we focused on what kind of bread has a little less and better things and less carbs and these kind of things, and which are actually okay to eat, because he wants to have that, and it's totally fine, and he's adjusting very well. And he did have today just bacon jerky this dried thing, and it without anything. So he was having the whole thing and sharing with his friends, and most of his friends said, oh my god, it's so good. So yeah, he's promoting Carnivore. With the high fat approach and the fasting and these kind of things, so that's basically what Kelly Hogan does, or what she does. A year ago, is the video is a year old, and I do see it with a lot of different people. So I did make today, after eating this stupid bread, at work, I did have then 3 hours later. So that's also important, to have 3 hours in between your little meals and not to eat constantly. That's one thing. And the other thing is not to drink too much water when you eat. Eat half an hour or drink half an hour later or before, because that also can cause a lot of stomach problems. So be careful with that. And especially be careful with the fat intake and just start slowly to increase it, don't overboard. And then I had still left in my, because I was in a company, we did have a lot of stress, we had a lot to do. So 3 hours later, I did have my pork belly fats, but it's not the best, so I only eat a handful and I'm okay. I'm not overeating it anymore. And then at 12 we went to our restaurant we usually go, and I did have the steak, and it was ridiculous. Again, we go there every week I order the steak without anything and it's fine. And today she always made a drama out of it, and I said, please, same like always. And she said, yeah, would you like some salad? I said, no. Would you like some fries? I said, no. I'm coming now every week here. She knows me, I don't want it. And she knows our orders. Before we enter, she already prepared the orders because it's just, a small town thing. And she's every time surprised. And she says, yeah, I don't understand. And she started being aggressive, and I was like overboarded with all the information, all the things. And I was like aggressive today. So I just keep my calm, and didn't say anything. And then she brought me the meat, and my colleague started talking about, yeah, how long do you do this now? And he was one of the good guys, he's always trying the little diplomatic approach and do understand that people are just different and everybody needs different things. And I just told him and so on. And one of the guys, and I know him because he makes jokes and it wasn't serious, but he said, your CO2, do you say that also in English? The environment is not gonna thank you because of the animals, and they're making our planet go to shit. And I say, I'm sorry, but I can give you so many studies and newspapers and these kind of things that show you that you're really, really wrong with that. And then the vegetarian next to me started being, what? Do you say that, animals don't do the worst thing to the planet? And I say, yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I'm not gonna argue with that because I don't give a shit about the CO2. And they were like, what the hell is going on with them? And I was like, done. I was so done. And I said, you know what, guys? Honestly, shut the fuck up. Because if you spend your life in the hospital the past years, the last thing you wanna be focused on is this debate about CO2, environmental things, or is, the cow safe or not. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I give a shit if I'm healthy and my son is healthy. That's what I give a shit. And I'm not gonna save now the planet, and I'm not gonna save the animals. What I can do is still, in the way I'm eating, still do the good approach and go to farmer's market and try to have organic meat and these kind of things where I know it's coming from a good source, because I do think that it matters. I think you can do carnivore on every budget, but I think also that there are different approaches, and some meat, especially chicken and these kind of things that are in mass produced, are not better than a banana. I don't think that, honestly. So I think that's also propaganda a little bit from carnivores, and I'm just sick of this whole marketing bullshit, also from carnivore sides and also from vegans and all the fighting and all the environmental bullshit and all the study bullshit and all these things. They're all talking different bullshit all the time. And also when I was vegan, our main argument was always the gorillas are vegan and look at them, they have six-pack and they're muscular. I know a lot of vegans who are, bodybuilders and these kind of things. It works. Don't bullshit people. Don't do that. Please don't do that, because it's just really bullshitting one side and the other. It is about what works for you. And I said, because I do feel better. My MS symptoms got better. I do have a better understanding about food because I'm now more aware what is inside. And even alone one of these things matters the most, because we have to be selfish. We have to be selfish to be healthy at first, and then we can save the planet and save the world when we are healthy enough. what do you do on an airplane? You not at first, you have to at first give yourself to breathe, and then you help others, because you need first to breathe yourself to be strong enough to help others, honestly. And that's my approach. So call me selfish, call me a narcissist, I don't care, call me an asshole. I'm all of that. If this is, me wanting to be healthy and not spending my life in pain again and in a hospital, and that's why I was so angry. And then they all shut up. They all shut up, and they were like little dogs who just got kicked. They were like, okay, oh, I'm so sorry, you're so right. And even the vegetarian was then, yes, of course, your approach is totally fine and good, and and that was the end of the story. And that's now my in your face arguments, and I'm not gonna argue anymore about that. And then I came home and I made some turkey. At the first time I found ground beef turkey, which I never tried, so I really wanted to try that, or some organic turkey thing. And I made these donuts out of them. I posted it on Instagram, so ivy.wolf, you can look it up. It doesn't look pretty, and you should put the York on it, into the donut, and it just should look pretty, but it was like so I have to improve that skill. But I did that with the egg York, and I did have some goat cheese, and I did have also butter today, and I was just munching on butter, so I did have my butter intake. And I was full. I did have a small piece of that, and I was full. My son was full. We all were satisfied. My mom said it tastes amazing. So I'm really having now my little go-tos, which are so simple, and it's basically ground beef, turkey, and beef, a turkey, ground beef made small, these kind of things. It's egg Yorks. I'm gonna try and see if they're going better for me. It's goat cheese and goat yogurt as well. I found that's also very tasty, and it's better for the body, actually, most of the people say. So I'm gonna try this out. I do have the feeling my cravings go away, and I'm just more relaxed if I eat smaller portions during the day, and more, and every time maybe something a little bit more like this cheese or these kind of things. So I'm gonna try this. Maybe I'm wrong, and then I will see. So this is why we're experimenting with these kind of things. And one thing also so important, you need to track your calories and macros to know what you're eating if you want to change it, because you have no idea how much fat or protein your stuff have. So you don't have to download the app and be complicated about it. You can also just look up on Google, and I don't know, if you're eating, for example, a ribeye, you can just ribeye, fat, protein, how much, and then just write it down. It's about, so basically, do you have 80%, do you have 20% of this and that? So it's a little bit more easier than just to have an understanding. If you, like me now, have then a baseline of things that you eat every day, it's easy. Just make a list, write it down. Eggs have that much protein, that much fat. Your ground beef had that much protein, that much fat. So if you write it down, you have a list, and you always, just can look at your list, and if you're having enough of everything until you are smooth with it, So, but you need to really, really learn how much things are in it, because when the first time I did it, I didn't believe it. It was so much fat. I was 80% fat, 20% protein my first days, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that because I thought it was 80% protein and 20% fat. That's what I thought. So you can be really, really wrong, even if you're educated in these kind of things and often track your calories, but I was so off. So that's why I say you really need to look it up, because maybe you are already high fat and you have no idea that you are. And be careful with all the lean ground beef things and these kind of things, because they don't have enough fat and these kind of things. So you need to put something a little bit more in it, and be careful with that. And we're gonna educate ourselves. I'm gonna do this experiment now with the pictures I saw in this video I was talking about from Kelly Hogan. She showed also pictures what she eat at her little small in a day, and I want to try it a little bit out and just see how I feel and if it's going to be better. So yes, that's what we basically do. And I'm happy to have you. And tomorrow we're gonna celebrate our 2-month anniversary. And anniversary. We should have flowers. We should do something. We should do something fun. Maybe we're gonna do something fun. Yeah. I'm gonna maybe prepare some lovely dinner for us just to celebrate our 2 months. 2 months together. So let's have a day tomorrow, and let me know how you are doing, and if you know and about high protein, and what your opinions are about that. See you tomorrow. Bye.